everyone, and welcome back again. Today we have a special video to highlight the top 5 spiciest old school Magic the Gathering decks played in tournaments in 2022. One of my favorite things about the community is the creativity of all the different decks that people come with. Of course, we talk a lot about or look at a lot of the competitive high-end decks like Robots and Dead Gael, but people really have a lot of fun making their own interesting or spicy decks. None of these decks were made by me. I wish I was this creative, but you could find links in the description below to some of the tournaments that these decks were playing if you want to see who made them and so forth. So I'd love to hear in the comments if you think I put them in the right order, or if there's another deck that you've seen that didn't make the list or something that you'd like to share with the community. Feel free to leave a comment. But with that, let's just jump right into the list. Starting off the list at number 5 is the Clockwork Clones deck. So this deck wants to play out lots of different artifact creatures and then confuse its opponent with what's going to happen next. So that might be casting a Vesuvian Doppelganger on a Clockwork Beast, a Clockwork Avian, a Suchi, or Triskelion. It might be having Halfdane, a creature from Legends, which gains the toughness and power of another target creature. It could, of course, also be the most tricky card of all, the Illusionary Mask, which you almost never see get played. So a creature can be played face down, and when it does damage on an attack or block, it then is flipped over to reveal what it is. So that could be an Abu Jafar, which will then kill all creatures that dealt damage to it during combat, or it could be a flyer, or it could be a Triskelion. I just really love how tricky and sneaky this deck is, and it gets it number 5 on the list. Next on the list is a spicy version of the Robots or Artifact archetype. So this deck does run 4 Triskelions and Tetravises like a normal Robots deck, but that's where the similarities end. 4 Clockwork Avians, personally one of my favorite creature cards, gets you on the spice list in and of itself, but also 3 Urza's Avengers. Now, while the artwork by Amy Weather here is beautiful, I've never played with or against this 4/4 creature for 6 colorless mana. It has an ability which gives itself a -1/-1 counter, but you can give the creature flying, banding, first strike, or trample until end of turn. Now, to really confuse your opponent, use Dance of Many to create a copy of Urza's Avenger, and then you could choose multiple different abilities for your multiple Avengers. For good measure, the deck runs Skull of Urm to bring your Dance of Many from the graveyard back to your hand so you can keep recasting it. And coming in at number 3, Escape from Cobra Island. I love the theme of being trapped on an island, and so a lot of the cards will tap down your creatures. For instance, a card you very rarely see, Varenian Gold, 2 blue, an X to cast, and X is equal to the number of sleep counters that go on a creature. You have Telekinesis, you have Kismet, and you have Tangle Kelp. All cards which are going to trap your creatures on the island, and then they'll be given poison honey with drop of honey, and you'll have to sacrifice those creatures before they can be effective. The deck then uses a Jade Statue to avoid the drop of honey and to attack through the tapped creatures. Overall, what an awesome idea and deck. This one gets a lot of style points. And for number 2, Encounters of the Tropical Kind. Again, this deck also sticking with the island theme, so you see the drop of honey and Jade Statue combo again. But this one really is a little more aggressive. Using Fast Bond to play lots of lands and maybe very quickly power up a big hurricane to crash your opponent's ships on the island. But I really love the combination of Concordant Crossroads and Serendib Djinn. So this is a Djinn is just coming at you 100 miles an hour out of this haunted forest. Again, another beautiful deck. And here it is, the #1 most spicy old school deck of 2022. It's Boiling Lobsters, played at LobsterCon 2022. This deck, of course, fits the theme of the event. The player, you could see the player in the background of the recipe wearing a lobster outfit. I did not play against this person at the event, but did see them win a game. And my understanding is the deck did very well, went 6-2 or something like that. It really revolves, in my opinion, around 3 cards. That's Deep Spawn, Ashman's Transmorgarant, if I pronounce that correctly, and Inferno. So by putting, as the recipe says here, by buffing or putting the lobster in the pot, it becomes a 7/7 creature. Inferno, of course, does 6 damage to all creatures and players, so you want to cook the lobster in the Inferno, which may probably board wipe your opponent, and then attack with the Trampler for the win. I think it's hilarious that the person made a recipe for the deck, and I wonder if the Amnesia and some of these cards were put in there to fit the recipe, or if the recipe was made after the deck was put together. But definitely this deck is spicy and blows your brain geyser. And there it is, folks. I know we went through them very quickly. Feel free to pause the video to take a look at the deck text, but if you'd like to see more fun old school content like this, again, leave a comment or subscribe, and we'll see everyone in 2023. I'm sure the community will come up with even more creative and interesting brews with this card pool. Thank you.